hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. The claws in my heart, I can't let go, I'm breaking apart, controlling me, controlling me.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tuesday edition of the Paranormal Portal Bedtime Stories From Beyond. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I am thrilled to be here as always. It's another fine night for some paranormal discussions, I think. And I hope you guys are having a good week. I'm having a good week, I think. I wish I was a hell of a lot more productive than I've been, but I always start every day with really good intentions. So it's just the way it rolls. But I hope you're all ready, because it's time for bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are underway here on the Bedtime Stories From Beyond for this Tuesday edition. And just been trying to keep up with messages and stuff, but thank you to all of you who reach out to me and talk and say hello and stuff throughout the day. It's really wonderful. I do my best to get back to all of you, but if I've missed you somewhere, I'm really sorry. It's just, there's a lot of things going on at any one time on my plate, and I don't mean to be rude. So I just want you to know I read all the messages. So they're all getting read. It's just I don't always remember to reply for what it's worth. So. But happy Tuesday evening. Tomorrow, of course, is Hump Day's Eve, Wednesday, and Don will be back here, and we'll be doing up another Paranormal Mayhem episode. So I hope it'll be a good time, and I hope you guys will be here and join us for it. So, with that, I see a bunch of you guys are piling in, and more are coming in all the time. So it's a great turnout as always, and thank you guys for that. Athena, that's a great name. Someone in the chat room just popped in with Athena. I love that name. That's very, very goddess-like. No, I used to love Greek, the Greek pantheon of gods and stuff, and I can't say I knew it to any serious extent. It was just when I was younger. I was really into different mythologies and stuff, and the Norse mythology and the Greek / Roman, which was the Roman was a bastardization of the Greek pantheon. But anyway, some great wisdoms and stuff. They're really cool. So very nice. And I don't know if anyone else new is in. Oh, that Athena says, I'm new. Well, good to see you, and thank you for finding us. However you found us, I'm really thrilled that you're here. So thanks a bunch for that. I heard some cold weather could be moving into some of the Midwest. I hope that's not true, but oh man, I'm just ready for this to move into late spring. Let's get the sun warmed up and keep the flip-flops on. So All right, the first story tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is coming out of California. And it's it's a long one, too. I can pick them, I tell you. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to read this one. It's another one of those investigator log ones, so I'm going to skip that one. Those don't read really well, and it's hard to put any kind of personality to a bunch of random, well, maybe not random, but systematic bullet points and stuff. And besides, it's just they're not as fun for whatever that's worth. So let's go to the Texas then, shall we? It says, our house growing up was not necessarily haunted, but my family members were always having strange experiences from time to time that led us to think that maybe if we were a little more perceptive than the average Joe, as far as the supernatural was concerned. We were the only family who lived in the house that we grew up in, so there were no residual entities that I knew about, and leading me to believe that we were just prone to experiencing things outside of the normal. When my youngest brother was about 7 years old, he had walked into the kitchen to get a yogurt snack, and I remember the yogurt snacks because they were those pricey yogurts in a plastic package that you could squeeze out and eat without a spoon. Also those little tube things or whatever, yeah. My younger brother was gone a few minutes, and we thought nothing of this because he probably just got sidetracked, and suddenly he was running back in utter terror into the back bedroom where my other brother and myself were sitting, and screamed that the cabinet doors had been slamming open and shut while he was in the kitchen. My brother and myself had heard the slam repeatedly, and while my younger brother was in the room, but being that he was about 7 years old, we just assumed he dropped something or couldn't find what he was looking for. My brother and I were not afraid of much except our parents arguing, and they divorced shortly thereafter, and we decided to check out the kitchen. Of course, we took our baseball bats and guard dog Bogey, because you have to go armed into a dangerous situation, and looking back on this, I guess the extra emotional atmosphere probably added strength to whatever it was that wanted our attention. And this was in the middle of the day, and it was bright outside, not at all scary, so we went back into the kitchen and could find nothing out of place. My little brother swears he saw those cabinets open and close, but with no evidence, we couldn't prove anything other than, of course, that he was a dork. It says he was a dork. Gotta love those siblings, all the support and love. I think it comes later on in life, but man, kids can be harsh. All right, let's see what's going on. This one's coming out of Texas, and it has to do with a kangaroo. That's bizarre. Okay, when my brothers were about 10 and 8-year-old respectively, they had been playing in my mother's room in a large cardboard box that they had turned into a fort. They were the kind of kids that could turn sofa cushions, bed sheets, and cardboard boxes into a mission control station worthy of NASA. This drove our mother absolutely crazy, but our father thought it was quite cute, so we got away with this on a regular basis. That evening, the hallway light had been turned off to save electricity, which is something my mother was famous for doing and still does to this day. My brothers were joking around and playing at being astronauts when suddenly I heard them both scream and duck for cover, knocking over several things. Being 12 whole years old, I considered myself far too mature and sophisticated to play fort with my infant brothers, so I'd been reading in my bedroom on the other side of the hallway, and I came into the room all authoritarian and asked them what was wrong, and they said that they saw a kangaroo jumping down the hallway. I told them to stop playing around, but they continued saying they saw a kangaroo jumping down the hall, looking like a shadow, but definitely not a human shadow. I asked them if it could have been either of our dogs, but they told me the kangaroo had been standing on its rear legs, jumping down the hallway, pausing once to look at them. How a shadow looks at you, I don't know. And then continued towards my room. I never saw what they said they saw, but they were adamant and refused to leave the hall light off ever again. So I don't know. When you're dealing with younger kids, they only have a limited reference to things. I mean, there's major shapes. So because this thing was maybe upright and hopping and perhaps had a wider bottom and a narrower top, they assumed it was a kangaroo, but it could be just some kind of non-human spirit, going through. But again, these kind of stories are tough because you can't really read too much into them because we don't have any narrative to go with. It's just this one little snapshot. Well, this happened once. Well, did anything else happen? We don't know that kind of stuff. So you just got to take it at face value. But it's interesting. And of course, not all ghosts are human or were human. Many of them were never human and maybe look more animalistic than what we would expect. And a lot of people like to chalk those up. Well, that must be a demon then. Well, no, not necessarily. I'm pretty sure there's a whole catalog of spiritual beings that we consider spiritual that, just live kind of outside of our normal reality, or able to live in and out of it. I don't know. But you often hear about different things like that didn't look human and, just weird shaped masses. And so I think in those cases, perhaps it wasn't a human ghost at all. But what was it? I don't know. Could be one of those just, migrant spirits that I believe are out there. I think there are things that just kind of go where they want to go. So that's an interesting story. But again, it is in the eyes of kids that were playing Mission Control or whatever. And so they were already in a very heightened imaginative state. So who knows how they interpreted what they saw. But this one's coming out of Texas again. Seems like Texas is the hot place tonight. But I'm sorry. That really wasn't intended to be a pun at all. And that's what I was telling Don the other night. It's like, I don't know. Sometimes people think those are witty and that I'm clever, but honest to God, they just dribble out of my chin. And it's like, whoa. Sometimes I catch them. Oftentimes I don't. So I'm really not that clever. So this is Texas again. I don't really know how old I was when this happened, but I know that I was young. There was a man that lived across the street. He was pretty poor, and, well, we would always make barbecue for him, and he gave us a boat for thanks, and but who would think this would happen? He was in his house one day around December, and it was very cold out, so he used a trash can with fire in it to heat it up a little bit. And when he went to sleep, it tipped over and caught fire, and the trailer was bursting in flames, and he burned to death in the trailer. Oh, that's so tragic. Wow. About 9 years later, when I was on our couch watching television, the doorknob suddenly started moving like somebody was trying to make it in. Make it in the house, I guess is what they mean. But I figured it was my dad who came back from work, but it was around 11, it says 11:12, so 12 minutes after 11, I guess. And he got here around 12, so I looked out the window and saw a man trying to get in. And it's funny because this has never, ever happened before around this block. It didn't happen again until 3 years later when I was 12. Me and a couple of my friends were eating pizza and watching a movie during the day, and I saw the doorknob start moving again. And my friend had saw it, but my other friend didn't. And I'm sitting at home waiting for this to happen again. I don't know if it's real or not. If you think it is real, write me. And then he gives his email address. I don't know. It's hard to say. But again, this is an old story, so... the next one is coming out of California, ladies and gentlemen. Our bedtime stories continue all the way over to California. What? It says, not revelation, in quotes. 'Tis that waits, but our unfurnished eyes. Emily Dickinson. It says, not revelation, then 'tis that waits, but our unfurnished eyes. And that was a quote by Emily Dickinson, I guess. All right, so I was in my early 20s and far from the city that I grew up in, and I didn't have a family, really. My parents had loads of problems of their own. For starters, my father, had molested children other than me, and after I reported him, My mom blamed me for tearing the family apart. Wow, that's so terrible. I wasn't close with my family in the least, and I think even adults need some sort of tie to a parent or of parental figure. It was hard feeling like I was all alone in the world, even though my parents couldn't love and support me, and I had been a foster child, and I always felt like my home was in Sacramento because most of my growing up had been there. And I had been living far away from Sacramento for a lot of years. Life was really tough on me, and I didn't have a good education, so economically I hadn't been able to improve my circumstances a whole lot. Eventually, grinding poverty and hopelessness got the upper hand, and I started to entertain thoughts of suicide. Whenever I wasn't working or taking care of my dog, I would just cry. My baby dog Jellybean would look at me with great concern during these times, and finally things got so bad that I had even developed a plan, how I would do it and how to find the best home for Jellybean. One very sad day, I had the day off of work and was laying in bed, and I had my eyes closed, but distinctly felt that someone had just entered my bedroom. I was afraid and not sure how I could defend myself, and I suddenly felt calm and got the impression I was not to be afraid or even to open my eyes. I perceived the individual as walking across the room towards me. Suddenly, a massive and strong hand grasped my shoulder, and I dared not open my eyes, but knew from my position on the bed exactly how he must be stooped over, looking directly in my face. The palm rested over my clavicle and the fingertips overlapped my shoulder. The dimension of this individual must have been astounding. I had remembered my Aunt Kathy telling me that Grandpa Quinn was a large man and had big, strong hands. The fear melted away. My awe continued, but somehow I just knew I had to keep my eyes shut or the exchange would end, and I began to feel so warm. The warmth began in the core of my body and began to radiate out until I felt I was glowing as brightly as the sun. I felt an amazing energy going directly from the hand and taking hold in my body. It was like all the love and happiness life has to offer being poured into me. I felt very protected too, and as if this individually was letting me know I was in good hands. In my dancing heart, I felt that I had so many reasons to live, and I had so much to give as well, and the desire to live and thrive overcame my suicidal plan. Finally, I just had to see the face that belonged to this person, and I opened my eyes, and as my eyelids flew open, the hand disappeared, leaving me to look at a room completely empty, except for my dog and myself. The energy remained, though, filling me with love and happiness, and I had received a special, special gift, and that enlarged my view of life and of my purpose, and I learned that life was larger than I had ever known, and that life was full of unseen angels, and I had and have more obstacles in my life, but never again did I feel I was alone and that my life was entirely meaningless or hopeless. The great poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart, and learn to love the questions themselves." That's a beautiful story. You know, when these kind of stories come up, you know, it's tough. It's tough to hurt so much, and it's tough to feel that way. And I've shared before on the show, but I had someone close to me that ended their life and took their life, and it was an incredibly painful, hard thing, and I know that life is painful and life is hard, and it's just really, really double tough to handle everything, and sometimes you just can't, and sometimes it becomes so overwhelming and it hurts so much that you don't think you can hurt anymore. And I think that maybe all of us have been in that place at one time or another or close to it, and I just hope that anybody listening to me And I say this every time it comes up, but I hope anyone listening to me, if you're in that place, just hang on. Just hang on. Don't give up. Don't do it. Don't let go. Don't quit fighting and look for help. Talk to somebody. Find someone you can talk to and talk. Share it all. Open your heart. Let it out. Because when you keep pain inside, that pain becomes a cancer of sorts, and it eats away at your soul and at your joy, and it's so unhealthy, and so if you don't have anybody to call some of the helplines that are out there. Just reach out and just handle your moments. Don't think about the big picture. If you're in a lot of pain, just take care of right now. Be right now. And once you get through that, then be in the next moment that comes. And be there until the next moment, And maybe sometime you'll be able to open your eyes a little wider and handle the bigger picture a little better. But when you hurt, just let somebody help you. Don't leave that legacy. Don't leave that pain and that scar on the people that do love you. There's a saying that's been around for a long time, but it says that suicide is the permanent solution to a very temporary problem. And I think while it doesn't seem like it at the time, our problems seem bigger than the world. And, it doesn't seem like a small thing at the time, but maybe there'll come a time when it does, or at least smaller than it is. So I'm sorry. I don't mean to stand on the soapbox, and I don't mean to preach ever, but, I know there's people out there that are in this place. Hell, I've been close to it myself. I can't lie. I was hurting at one time in my life as much as I think it's possible to hurt. But, just hang on. It gets better. It will get better. So thanks for indulging me there. But having lived through it and having felt how much scars it leaves on the hearts of those people that are left behind, just, it's brutal. So let someone help you. All right. So let's continue on here. Oh, I love you too, Sarah. Thanks. Thanks, Sphinx Silinx. I like that name too. All right, let's go on to Maryland, shall we? I've always heard that Beverly Mansion was haunted, but I never actually believed it until, I saw it. One night, me and my friends decided to take a trip there, and wow, were we in for a big scare. It was just the 4 of us going up to this vacant mansion in the middle of nowhere, but it had fresh stones in the driveway and no keep out signs, so we parked the truck and hopped out, and we started walking up the drive to this old fence, and we could hear barking, and it sounded as if dogs were behind us. And I must remind you, no one lives here. We all got scared and decided to go back, but we saw truck lights coming up the long driveway, and we all jumped in the weeds, but one of my idiot friends jumped back out, and the truck stopped, and it was a tiny old man, pale as a ghost, and said, "What you doing around here?" We told him that our truck broke down, and he asked if we needed help, and we said no, we had it taken care of. And then he said kindly, "Have a good night," and pulled away. Now here's where it gets weird. One of my friends said, "Hey, can you see our footprints in the stones? But how come there's no tire prints from the truck?" And we all looked back and noticed the truck was long gone, and that there was nowhere for it to have turned off. We didn't say another word and just took off running for the truck. Now tell me, was that guy real or a ghost? I don't know. That's a tough one. A cool story, though. I love the ones where there's such a profound manifestation that you have to ask yourself that question. Was it really real, or did I just talk to a ghost? Those are very, very powerful. And I wonder how many of us actually have. Whenever, if you're ever out and about and you sit down and just have this sudden conversation with a stranger, and do you ever wonder, was everybody I've ever talked to real? Could I have been talking to some ghosts at one point? I think about that all the time. But then again, I do the Paranormal Portal, so I'm always thinking about this stuff. But it makes you wonder, because you do hear those stories. Another host on TFR, Frank Castle, was on the show a long time ago, and he told me the story of after I think it was his grandmother passed away. I think it was his grandmother. I might be butchering that part of it. I'm not sure the relation anymore, but they had passed away, and he was in his house, and he said suddenly this person was standing there and was just like, it was clear as day. And he said he just stopped in his tracks, and the person was there right in front of him in absolute three-dimensional reality. He could not tell that it was not a physical person. And then suddenly, boom, they were gone again. And he was just left there with his mouth hanging wide open. And how powerful is that? I mean, that's a powerful manifestation. And you often hear terms like, well, it requires a lot of energy. And perhaps that's true. I can't possibly know, but that's the legend. That's the belief, is that, spirits can't do that all the time because it requires so much energy. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. You have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, whenever somebody is talking about the dynamics of spirits and ghosts and stuff, it's all just guesses. It's all just guessing. Nobody has a clue, really. There are no experts. There's just people with ideas. And so your ideas are just as valid as somebody who's, been in the field for 40 years. It just doesn't matter. We aren't able to study this in a real traditional or clinical way. So we have no idea what's going on. And so all of these ideas and beliefs, well, they're ideas and beliefs. There's nothing known as fact in this whole paranormal realm of ours. All right, the next one is coming out of California. It says the Black House, as in Sirius Black. Reading Harry Potter was amazing, but if you ever wanted to see the fictional Sirius Black Manor jump into reality, I know the place for you right here in the capital of California, Sacramento. 2131 H Street sits in the heart of downtown amidst the business and wealthy Victorian houses with perfectly coiffed lawns. For as long as 15 years I have walked by its neglected pall of dark windows and dead lawn, watching the bees make their way in and out of a hole in one of the walls. Among the living there, they alone occupy the manor, and the manor is stunning and beautiful, like finding a diamond on the street. And running into people, including paranormal investigators, is normal. And we load our eyes with the strange shingles, cut it to look like dragon scales, and fitted by the craftsmen expertly over the house. The stone lion heads that guard each door at the front of the house, and the rough-faced blocks at the base, and the careful stained glass give this house an aloof air. An aloof air. Wow, that's it's pretty wordy. The family that owns this home is closed-mouthed, but clearly this house was created by an eccentric, looking like a Gothic castle in detail. A friend of mine put her name and number on a paper, indicated she wanted to see the house, and left it in the mailbox. And later she checked the mailbox, and her paper was gone, and no one ever called her. People like me who come to this house really want to go inside, and I once thought I saw a woman grimly staring at me through the second-story window, but then I heard that the home was vacant. The story is that this house was owned by one of the wealthy founders of Sacramento, and his wife was mysteriously murdered therein. The manor is not on the market, but back in the 70s, a family moved in and said they heard struggling in the kitchen and shattering glass and saw cats mysteriously streaking through the rooms and then vanishing, and legend is the family left real quickly. There is also an odor of rotting flesh that is said to warn off unliked visitors that dare come into the yard. Looking up the owners, the house is listed under the Martinez family, and the house is caught up in property dispute. The children wanting to sell it, but they cannot agree on specifics, so it remains unused. The family seems to do the minimum to take care of it, and the manor's many visitors are in love with it, but I also believe that the spirit prefers her existence this way, alone and untouched by time and the living. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I love those old houses. They just, when you look at modern day suburbs and stuff, and you see these cookie cutter houses, and they're all stacked right beside each other, and you can't tell one from the other because they all look the same. But when you go into a historical district, you see these homes. And I used to own a Queen Anne Victorian house that was built in 1894. I just loved the house, but they were built with such love and character, and there was such detail and effort to create, honestly, a work of art. They are just, these old houses are just beautiful, and there's plain old houses as well, don't get me wrong, but these manor houses were all built with such craftsmanship. And not to disparage modern day carpenters and construction people, they do an amazing job, and that is what it is. But these old craftsmen, they put together houses, and those houses are sturdy as hell. In the attic in my old house, the beams of the roof were 10 by 2. They were 10 inches wide and 2 inches thick, like a full 2 inches. Now you go to the store and get a 2x4, and it's maybe 1.5 by 3.25 or something like that. It's just that it's they even kind of skimp on the amount of wood they give you when you buy a specific measure of wood. But back in the day, when it was a 2x4, it was really a 2x4, or a 2x6 was a 2x6. So those houses are built so incredibly strong and firm, and they really do stand the test of time. Like the modern houses, they'll last, maybe 100 years, but they're going to be in pretty tough shape. These old houses, they'll continue on as long as they're cared for. I just love that character of them. So very cool story. So I have a soft spot for the historical. All right, let's see what's going on in these other stories that I'm going to pull up for you now. How you guys doing out there? Good? Everybody having a good time? Woo! Click that like button. That's all I'm saying. If you're having fun, click the like button. When you click the like button, an angel gets its wings. That's what I heard. I don't know. So do you really want to deny an angel its wings? Come on, click. All right, let's see what we got. I got to entertain myself. It's so different between doing the bedtime stories and then when Don's here or having a guest, because, I'm talking to somebody, but now it's like dead silence. It's like I say something and then I chuckle at my own jokes like an idiot. So what do you do? All right. Thumbing up. Good deal. Good deal. Oh, you did? Where? I'm sorry. I had that all covered up, but I see it now. Now, the funny thing is, I'm not even in there. How did that happen? I connected earlier. Let me connect and I'll answer your call, mister. Sorry about that. I thought for sure I was called in already. There I am. Hello there. You're on the air, and so am I.
There you are. That was the goofiest music for hold you had.
Really? I don't know what it is. It's it's one of those services, so I don't know what they have on hold. What is it? Is it terrible?
No, it was normally I can listen to the show, but I had to keep YouTube going because it was just like music. I'm like, what's going on?
Well, what was going on is I actually wasn't connected to the phone server myself, and I thought I was. So I'm here now, though. Sorry about that. What's going on tonight, sir?
All right. Well, you just triggered me, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, your discussion about why don't we have these better houses nowadays, and we have cookie cutter houses and track houses and blah blah blah.
Right.
I think we've literally ran out of the old cadre of awesome builders.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
And I mean, just to give you a sampling, at least of my area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm, trying to plan the bar and get all my ducks in a row. And so I call first guy contractor for construction. All right, here's the bar and here's what I'm looking for and blah, 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 blah. Can you build it? Yeah, I can build it. All right, can you give me a quote? All right, I'll give you a quote. Never hear from him again. This happens 10 times.
Oh, man. Wow.
Literally cannot find a soul where I live within 20 miles.
Wow.
That is willing to touch the bar like it's haunted or something.
Wow. You know what you might want to try? And then this may sound, you might want to try maybe the Amish.
Well, I mean, the problem is I've got to drive up to Lancaster County and then drive them down here, and that would just be crazy. Okay. But, so yes, I'm just saying, yeah, I hear you. And yeah, there was houses of magnificent beauty, these Victorians and other great custom houses are just amazing. And honestly, that's kind of what I'm trying to do is build this custom bar.
With that same
and even something so small, it's not a huge undertaking. It's just impossible to find somebody to work on it.
Oh, that's too bad. I hope you're able to figure that out because, yeah, that would be like the centerpiece of the whole building.
It will be, but the good news is I actually burned some of my, what I don't know if you want to call it mojo or casting high magic, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
I have summoned the rum doctor.
You've what?
I have summoned the rum doctor.
Oh, nice. Dude.
Now, let me explain who this is.
Okay.
If you ever, I don't know if you guys ever get my feed, but there's a gentleman who studies rum down to a science, and he gives reviews on every rum constantly. Well, he's a personal friend.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I said, oh, gosh, man, I'm dying here. I cannot find one person to literally pick up a hammer and be willing to even touch the bar.
Uh-huh.
Literally, it's like, what is going on? But anyway, yep, I'll come do it.
Really?
He's in Atlanta. He's going to drive 2 hours to get down here just to help me cut the concrete floor, build the 42-foot-long bar, build the back bar, every table in the place.
Oh, my God. Wow. That's
and
amazing.
Just to let you know, kind of what you're going to see is, I don't know if I told you this already. Have you heard of Shoshugi Ban?
No, I haven't.
Okay, this is a Japanese craft of preserving wood by burning it.
Oh, okay.
So what we're doing is we're taking the 42 feet of the top of the bar and burning it.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to burn the top, then we're going to slough off all of the particles off of it, the burnt parts,
and
then apply Kata red dye stain.
Oh my God, I'll bet you that'll be deep and beautifully rich and colored, huh?
Rich and colored, and then we're pouring 4 gallons of stone coat epoxy, which can take fire, knifing, anything. You cannot destroy this coat of epoxy.
Oh, good. That's good. If you're gonna make something that artistic, you definitely want to protect it.
Well, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. It just to get anything done at this point requires there's only a few people in the entire United States that even are aspiring to do what we're talking about.
Right. Wow.
It's honestly, if I saw a kid or a young person that said, hey, I want to get into, what kind of a career do I need? I just say, learn a trade and learn to the best of your ability and don't give up ever.
Yeah.
Because if this guy just learned carpentry, he would probably be building the most amazing things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't wait to see pictures of this bar when you get it done.
Oh, well, we put in the app for the city, and the fire guy already came by today, looked around and said, it's not time for me yet. You guys aren't even constructed. Bye.
Oh.
Okay. Next guy is supposed to come down. Well, he just had surgery.
Oh.
Of course, that's going to delay things.
Sure.
So he's coming down, and we've got the license application in now to see us get a green light.
Yay.
And if the green light hits, I will have the most metaphysical experience you'll ever see in your life. I will grow horns and a tail. I will have a pitchfork, and my voice will be changing to get it done. Now, now, now. Chain him to the bar. Cut that floor. Now, now, now. Get this done. Hang those lights. Now, now, now.
Make sure you film that. Make sure you film that so we can use it on the show.
Oh, I know. It's probably going to be amazing. I'll probably look like some weirdo demon. But anyway, yeah, so I was triggered when you were saying, these beautiful houses and the old craftsmen that could do stuff, because I look at old bars, try to get this 1919 feel, and I look at them and these people were amazing.
They were craftsmen. They were truly craftsmen. Yeah.
They were craftsmen. How did they build that back bar?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this with amazement. They did this before LEDs, and they did this before. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
We need to have a renaissance of crafts, and America needs one bad.
Yeah, we do. You're very right. We're too much into the temporary and the disposable, so it's time to up our game for sure.
Absolutely. But anyway, sir, that's just a little of the bar update. And yes, you triggered me to literally call in and say, where are the craftsmen? I can't find them for 50 miles.
Well, I'm sorry, brother, but I'm glad it's coming together, and keep us posted, because we're definitely rooting for you. I can't wait to have the
Thank you, sir.
The Paranormal Portal Wednesday Hump Days Eve celebrations at the Cocktails and Corners.
Oh, you can't. Oh, sir. That's one thing I'm looking at, is where are the optimal cameras to put in the bar just to show everybody when we put you on the damn big screen.
Woo-woo. That sounds great, brother. Thanks for calling in, and
all right.
Have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. And we got another caller, and this is our good friend MCAT. How you doing, brother?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Good. What's new?
Oh, just same old thing, man. Working for a living. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. Where are you at now?
Springfield, Missouri.
Missouri. Okay. Well, that's at least the weather's not snowy anymore.
No, actually, it's been pretty nice the last couple of days. So spring is finally here, so that's a good thing.
Let me ask you, and this doesn't really have anything to do with the paranormal, but actually, my family lives on a floodplain, and of course, they've been flooded now for. My mom's been flooded now for a week or a couple weeks now. Have you run into any of that on your runs? Any problems with the flooding?
Yeah, the only flooding that I run into is I-29 in Iowa, which runs up between Kansas City and Omaha. So it runs up on the eastern border, was closed because the Missouri River had flooded out of its banks.
Oh, yeah. I know there's a lot of farms in real big trouble and ranches and stuff, so I hope they get that sorted quick, man.
Yeah, I do too. Because we had a pretty wet winter, so hopefully this doesn't lead to a dry summer, because they're gonna need moisture later on for the crop. So we'll see how they pull out.
Right. So what's going on tonight?
Well, just wanted to just talk a little bit of what happened to the last night.
Yeah,
which was rather interesting.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so I woke up around 3 o'clock in the morning. We got done. We get done about 11 or so. Went to bed. Woke up around 3, and I've got some lights that are on in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw, I've got a TV on the end of the bunk where I am, and I saw, it's reflective, and I saw movement in it.
Okay.
And then I started seeing shadows move. I started hearing little things move, so I knew someone was running around checking things out.
Okay.
Which is, I've seen that before, and that's what they do. They'll move around, and I'll hear little noises, but that's them checking stuff out. And then they started checking me out. So I heard all this, and that's when I started running the recorder.
Uh-huh.
Ran that for about 5 minutes. This thing started checking me out, and the feeling is kind of hard to describe. It's like a chill,
mm-hmm.
and it started at my head, moved all the way down my body to my feet, and then it probably checked out my co-driver that's sleeping above me on the bunk. I had about 5 minutes of recording. Didn't really say anything. I just let it run, and that's when I picked up, the EVP that I sent in.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, and that seems like I think that was directed at me, but if there was any ire there, I don't think that's aimed at me. I think that's aimed at my co-driver.
Sure. Do you want me to play it now?
You can if you want.
Okay.
I mean, we can cover this later. I just wanted to tell you how this all came about.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to do it on a network night if we could, if you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I just wanted to give you the background.
How long did this whole experience last?
Between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m.
Wow. So a full hour.
Yeah, a full hour, and I kind of got up and started, hey, listen, I'm trying to sleep here. You got to knock this off.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a new person or not, but you can't be doing this.
Right. No.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you notice that something travels with you normally?
Yeah, I've got followers.
Okay.
I know that they're there, and everybody knows the rules for the most part. Every once in a while, I'll see shadows move, or I'll hear something like they're checking stuff out,
uh-huh.
which is fine. I don't mind that they're there, and that's what I tell them. I'm like, I can't see you, but I know you're there, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, I'll be driving, and I'll feel them kind of right up on me, just checking things out. I'm like, hey, I'm driving. You got to back off here.
Yeah. Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with it, MCAT, who's joining us on the phone right now, is he's all over the country for his job, but he's also a paranormal investigator, and he's been on the show several times as a contributor and as a guest. So he's been really involved with the show for quite a while. If you're new to the show, and he's right now sharing the story of when he was stopped on his journey and had this experience. Just to give you a little bit of background on this in case you're new. That is
for all the new people in the room.
For all the new people, right. So now let me ask you as well. So you say you have some traveling with you. Do you think that as you stop different places that perhaps these many places may have entities or beings of their own, and they just kind of come as a matter of course to check out the new people that arrive in their area, and that may be what you were experiencing last night?
Could be.
Yeah.
It could very well be. I was talking to Sean about this, and he was like, well, they're spirits that are on the road that you probably just, they pick them up for a while. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that there are new people that come and go that just want to check things out.
Yeah, that's really wild. And that's cool that you have that much awareness of it. And, of course, being an investigator, you're not intimidated, but you take a real practical approach to it and use it as an experience.
Well, my approach it's a little, I don't want to necessarily say unique, but it's maybe the reason they follow me is because I treat them like people.
Right.
Because that's what I view them as. They're people without body, and so there's a level of respect there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what I always tell them, because I've seen them in my home, and that's fine. And I always tell them, look, I know you're here. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to make you leave, but there are going to be rules that you have to follow. As long as everybody plays by the rules, everything's fine. Mm-hmm. So it's a what would you say? It's like a cohabitation.
Right. Sure. That's really cool. I think you're doing it right, brother. I think so.
I think for me, it's the best way to go about it. Everybody plays by the same rules, and as long as they do that, then we're all fine. Doesn't bother me one bit. Every once in a while, they might step out of line, and then we'll just have to have that come to Jesus meeting for the new guys.
That's right. Tell them what time it is.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for calling in and being a part of the show tonight and filling us in on the detail of what this was about. I did get the email and I did listen to it. It seems pretty cool to me, but I'll be excited to unveil it on one of our Friday or Saturday shows.
Yep, that's fine, buddy. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, brother. Have a good night and drive safe.
All right, you too, bud. I'll see you later.
All right. That is cool. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about it a lot on the portal, but, if you are dealing with a presence, just, claim your space. Claim your space. Tell them, you can have a dialogue with them. A lot of times spirits just want to be acknowledged. And if you acknowledge them and say, look, you can be here, and you need to toe the line and not do these things. And it's okay if you do these things, but, just let them know what your expectations are. A lot of times these beings were people, and they don't want to cause problems, and they don't want to be an issue. And so, like most people you meet during the day, and when you go down the street, if you meet somebody, they don't want to, give you hell or make your life miserable. They're just pleasant for the most part. And I think the same thing is true for a lot of these beings that may be bound to the earth for whatever reason. So have a dialogue, have a discussion, tell them your expectations, claim your space. And if they don't perform or not perform, I don't want to make them sound like trained poodles, but if they don't respect those limitations, then you got to raise the ante, I guess, and make other measures. But, it's a good thing. Now, Lewis, I see you said something in the chat about 100 candle challenge, and I'm not sure what that is, but I'm really not very much into the trendy paranormal game kind of stuff, like the elevator thing or the 3 a.m. or 1 a.m. challenge or what of that. I haven't heard of the 100 candle challenge, but you'll have to fill me in on the specifics about it. I guess if it's, if it's something that could be fun for the show, yeah. I'm not opposed to trying things, but if it's some of those goofy things that people are doing to, like Bloody Mary in a mirror, that kind of stuff. Well, I'm probably not going to do things like that, but you never know. I can't say never, but I'm not presently inclined to. But please let me know what that 100 candle challenge is, or I'll look it up, I guess, and see more of what you're talking about. I'm not against doing some ITC on the show, or experimenting with different modalities of communication on the show. I'm okay with that. It would require a pretty special setup. The setup for the portal now is just pretty much to talk. If we were going to get into doing things like that, I'd have to do a lot of special setup in order to accommodate that. And, it's something that I guess we can explore for an opportunity at some point down the road, but we'll see. But I do appreciate you thinking of these things, Louis. Don't get me wrong. I'm not naysaying it completely. I'm just saying that most of the time I'm not very interested in doing those things. And there's a few reasons why. I like the portal to be a discussion first and foremost. I like to talk about ideas and talk about people's input and thoughts regarding these amazing phenomena that are around. Second of all, there's about 5,000 other people doing these things on YouTube. And, I guess it's not really my thing anyway. And if I did do it, I'd just be doing the same thing 5,000 other people are doing, So that's why I'm hesitant to get involved with a lot of things like that. But I am interested in doing like EVP sessions if we ever got to a place where there was a real active haunting or something, or trying instrumental transcommunication with like an SB7 spirit box or something like that. Those are certainly things that I'd be happy to do for the show. But and also, I'm not really keen on trying to do any kind of summoning or encouraging stuff in the studio, which is in my home, because I got to live here. And not that stuff scares me, but I don't need it to become problematic for my little minion or my wife. So just some reflections on what you're saying. And I appreciate you thinking, though, about these things and things that we could do on the show. So keep the ideas coming, but that's my initial knee-jerk reaction to those kind of things. But we can explore some thoughts and some possibilities, or we can put together video segments ahead of time and then show them on the show. Because the other part of it is if you do it, how long do you do it? And if nothing's happening, nothing's happening. With the paranormal is not like going to the circus where, hey, watch the tiger, jump through the flaming hoop now, and boom, the tiger does it, and everybody's like, oh wow, the tiger did it. Well, the spirits aren't likely to want to, perform for people. They if they have something to say, then they may come through and say it, but it may be really degrading and condescending to go, hey, let's entertain people now, tell us something, you know what I mean? So I always want to be as respectful as possible, because a lot of times these spirits can be in a distressed state already, and they certainly don't need to perform to make us happy. And probably won't anyway. So, 90% of investigating and doing things like that, you get very minimal or hardly any results. And so how long do you do a session like that to try to generate something that's interesting for people to watch? So that would be the way it would probably be handled. If we did do something like that, it would be pre-recorded, and then I'll edit it together and if there's anything to show. So, but yeah, keep the thoughts coming, guys. I just wanted to address that quickly. So, where are we at with the time? I don't even know. Oh, geez. I got on the wrong one there. So we're at the hour. So I guess that's probably a good place to leave it, guys. But thank you so much for being here and being a part of the shows. Remember, tomorrow night, Don will be here with me, and we'll do the Paranormal Mayhem Wednesday, Hump Day's Eve episode. So I hope you guys will tune in and be a part of that. Other than that, I don't know. Trying to think if I had any other announcements. I don't think so. If I do, just make sure you're following us on Facebook or on MeWe. Those are the two biggest sites that will make announcements, but it's facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio. And if there's anything coming up for the show, or if anything ever comes up where I'm not going to do a show, that's where I'm going to post it, or on MeWe as well. MeWe, of course, I have a Brent Thomas page there. I don't have a Paranormal Portal page on MeWe, but anyway. Feel free to follow us there. Follow us on Twitter if you got Twitter. Our Twitter is @Paranormal Portal, but Portal is Portl. They didn't give me quite enough room for the other A, so it's @Paranormal Portal on Twitter. I got like 60-some followers, and granted, I don't do a lot on Twitter. I keep having great ideas that I'm going to start doing more on Twitter, but I at least post show notices and stuff there, so Check it out on Twitter if you would, please. If you got a Twitter, tweet at us. But anyway, if you want to support the portal, head over to teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal, and you can check out some of the gear that Don has put up in his efforts to help, support what we're doing. Otherwise, if you just want to throw cash, that's cool. Go to paypal.me/paranormalportal. Or you can always super chat, I guess, but super chats are good and everything, but we end up having to split it with YouTube. They take a pretty good cut. So anyway, guys, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you're able. So I'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. Take care. Don will be joining me. And stay in touch. Love you all. Sweet dreams.
Woo!